Hello, welcome to another tutorial. So this is a Flutterflow tutorial for non-technical founders. So if you are a non-technical founder, you've never ever designed anything in your life before, but you have that idea in your head and you say, okay, I'm going to build an application, or I'm going to build my idea, I'm going to bring it to life, then this tutorial is for you. This tutorial is going to be really basic. It's going to be really basic. I'm going to explain everything you need to know about building with Flutterflow. First, we're going to walk through bringing the thoughts in your head to a Miro board. And secondly, I'm going to help you find design inspirations. I'm going to help you think your database. There's this thing called database. This is where all the data in your application is going to live. I'm going to show you how that works. And then I'm going to show you how to fast track your design using templates, widgets, and flows in Flutterflow. And we're going to talk about collecting payments. And then I'm going to show you how to connect to external tools, because if you're a first-time founder, there's a very high chance that you wouldn't want to do things yourself, lots of things yourself. You would want to connect to other external tools, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm going to show you how to prepare for your launch, right? And then I'll show you how to launch. So don't worry if you've never done anything in Flutterflow before. It's fine. I'm going to introduce you to the entire platform again and again and again, and we're just going to, keep sailing all the way. That's what we're going to do. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you what Flutterflow is briefly, why I use Flutterflow, and what Flutterflow can do. So Flutterflow itself is a no-code tool, or is a low-code tool, because Flutterflow is not entirely a no-code tool, because you can really build on top of Flutterflow using code, right? If you're a developer, you can use Flutterflow, but since this is for non-technical founder, I'm going to make this, super basic. Flutterflow is a tool that would enable you to build mobile applications or web applications, or applications for your desktop. It might be, Mac OS or Windows desktop. You can even use it to build plugins, right? You can use it to build Google Chrome plugins or Microsoft Edge plugins, depending on what you want to use it for. And you do so using this drag and drop interface, right? So this is a drag and drop interface. You see the way this particular video, or the video right here, it's moving. That's the way you're going to be dragging and dropping stuff on the screen. So mostly you're just going to be, just think of it like you have a canvas and you're going to be able to draw whatever you want, right? You'll be able to color whatever you want. You'll be able to draw whatever you want with that particular canvas. That's what Flutterflow is, right? And you can build virtually, like it says here. You can connect. So the way Flutterflow does things is that you build a container, or you build a skeleton, and then you add an action. It's like building a calf, or building a statue, and then you add an action like move to that particular statue. It's like building a statue, and then you're able to add actions to that particular statue, and tell the statue to raise the hand, move, turn around, go sideways, turn left, turn right. That's basically the way Flutterflow works. And also you can build responsively. So that means you can build once, and it will be very responsive for mobile, for tablet, for desktop, and for most of the devices that you're going to be using, right? And a cool thing about Flutterflow is that as you begin to learn Flutterflow, you'll be able to build very complex applications, and also you'll be able to build very, very simple applications. Say for example, you want to build the usual to-do application. You can do so with Flutterflow within a few hours. You want to build to-do applications, you want to build inventory management applications, you want to build work management application. You can do all of those stuff within hours, right? So that's basically what Flutterflow does. And also, don't forget to check out the pricing, so you don't get shocked after building your mobile application. Flutterflow is one of those tools that is very cost effective, because you pay only for the builder. You don't really pay for the database. You can decide on the database that you're going to use, but for the builder you would have to pay. I'm in Nigeria right now, and I'm paying $28 for the tool. But if you are somewhere in the West, you're going to be paying $70 if you're somewhere in the West. And also, you can start this tutorial with the free plan, right? With the free plan, you can begin, and then you can keep You can keep optimizing, but if you're going to be launching on the Play Store, right? If you're going to be launching on the Play Store, then you will have to go to the standard plan, because with the standard plan, you'll be able to download your APK file, and then that APK file, you'll be able to put it on the Play Store and watch your application. And if not the Play Store, you'll be able to put it on your own device, right? You'll be able to put it on your own device and just watch it. You can use it, especially if you're downloading, especially if you're creating an internal tool. Yeah, you can really stick with this, right? You can stick with this, and you can stick with this, and if you're building something for the web, right? If you're building something for the web, you can just publish using this particular plan, and that really works for you. But if you're somebody who's thinking of scaling, right? You're somebody who's thinking of, scaling, and you're going to be working with teams. You just want to try the tool out, and then after then you're going to be working with teams. Then you would want to go for the pro plan or for the team plan. Yeah, very important. Okay, with that said, let's go explore the Flutterflow interface. Okay, wait. We're not going to explore the Flutterflow interface first. We're going to try how to, design our thoughts using the mirror board. We're going to design our thoughts using the mirror board. That's what we're going to do first. So just open your browser and go to miro.com/app. So the thing is, whenever you're building your application, you want to be able to bring that thought in your head and put it inside somewhere first, inside like a board first, before you put it into Flutterflow. But I would say Figma, but Figma, it's a very experienced tool, so you don't want to use Figma because it's a lot. But for Miro, you'll be able to just bring the board, bring anything you want to bring right there, and you'll be able to think of something for yourself. So this is the way you do it. You can pick from a template. Right, you can pick from a template here. You would see app wireframe, you would see design sprint, you would see a whole lot of things here, right? So what we're going to choose, we're just going to choose app wireframe. So inside the wireframe, we're going to plan all our application, right? And just imagine that we're going to intend to build an inventory management application. And for an inventory management application, people are going to be keeping records. Like when I mean keeping records, people are going to be creating records, reading records, updating records, and deleting records. That's basically what you do in an inventory management application. So we're going to preview and see if it's good for us. Right, we're just going to preview and see how it looks like. And you can go about reading about this template. You can say welcome, stuff like that. But what we want to do is planning, right? Don't bother about, you can pick any one of your choice, that's fine. We just want to plan our application. So I'm going to use this. So you would basically see this is the way the application comes, but we don't want to use any of this stuff, right? We don't want to use any of this stuff. Just going to delete it because don't really care, don't want to use it. Okay, so we will bring a test, we'll bring some sticky notes right here, and we're going to ask ourselves, okay, let's bring we're going to bring a sticky note right here, or let's bring a frame. Let's look for, okay, let's just leave a sticky note. So we're going to ask ourselves, what kind of application is this? An inventory management application, inventory management application, right? And then we would I'm going to bring the size down. Right? And this is the application that we're going to be, this is what we're going to be building, an inventory management application, right? And the next thing we want to ask ourselves is, what exactly makes an inventory management application? What exactly does it look like, right? Not a note. Okay, I think we should put the note over here. So we should put it over here, right? I'm going to take this away. So the next thing we want to ask ourselves, what exactly is an inventory management application, and what are some of the features that you're going to need? What are users going to be able to do in this particular application? And that's basically what you want to ask yourself, because if you don't know what users are going to be doing, then you would not be able to build your screens out in Flutterflow. So how do we know? Probably because you have it in mind to build an inventory management application. You would have seen an inventory management application before, and you know exactly what kind of screens you're looking for, right? So we'll think, who uses it? You think probably you're building it for a small business, and if you're building it for a small business, it means the small business will be able to log in and sign up, right? So that means we're going to have something here called authentication, right? And what are they going to do right here? They will be able to log in, and then they will be able to sign up. They will be able to sign up, they will be able to log in, and then they will be able to recover password. So if I come into the platform, I'll be able to log in, I'll be able to sign up, I'll be able to recover my password if I misplace it. So that's one thing. Then what else do you want users to be able to do on the platform? So there are some times where you're going to be short for ideas. You'll be thinking, okay, what do I want? What do I want? And you'll be confused. A good way to do it is to go to Dribbble or Behance, right? Go to Dribbble, dribbble.com, right? Go to Dribbble, and you'll be able to find inspiration. While Dribbble is loading, another place to find inspiration is on Pinterest. So we can go to pinterest.com, right? Go to pinterest.com. We'll be able to find inspiration right here on Dribbble, right? What's happening? Okay, this is not loading. Let me find again Dribbble. Clark. So what you want to search is, you want to search inventory management application. So the reason why you're searching like this is because, you know, as a small business, you wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. So you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You don't want to do something new and something special because you don't have that budget. I was seeing an article online a few minutes ago, and I saw that Airbnb spent $1.7 billion US last year on product research, and I'm pretty sure you don't really have that money. So you want to spy from what other big companies are doing, so you can use it to build your application. You know, you can leverage and build your application just like so, right? So we're going to just click into it and see what other persons are doing. If we click into this one, this is from Dribbble really. Let's see this one that says manage your inventory, and we can see this has a dashboard. It has items in stock, out of stock. So if we scroll down, we're going to see other ones. I'm going to click on this, and we can see we have login, we have sign up, we have maps, we have order tracking, we have sale, we have product details. So a few things, right? But this is not so visible, but really you can get the drift, right? And also we can also find, we can also just search Google. So I'm showing you how to do this right off the bat. We can look for product pages, right? Product pages. Or let's just say app pages ideas. So these are just keywords that I just put into this, and you can see Pinterest is coming, design rush, system mobile app design examples. We can find others, landing page folio, app idea, but these are places where you will find some resources to use. But I still love Pinterest and Dribbble, so I'm going to come to Pinterest. I'm going to just log in, and I'll be able to search for something that I need, right? I'm going to search for inventory management. So inventory management application, that's what I'm searching for. And then I'm going to see these cool screens, right? These are very cool screens. If you're very lucky, you will find, you know, complete application. But if you're not, you wouldn't find all of it right here. So I'm going to click on this one. Really caught my attention. So we can see stuff like, okay, this is not English. I'm going to go look for English. I need something in English. Inventory management mobile. Let's click on this one. So we can see we have product, you know, product overview, we have reports, and then we have the company. So that means we're going to have, let's go back to our mural. We're going to have products, right? And those products are going to have product details, right? Product count, product details, product count, product starts. Well, I mean starts, I mean statistics, and then we're going to have company. So that means the owner of this particular person. So a person might have more than one company on the application. So it's we're gonna have company details, right? Details, we're going to have company products, and also we can have staffs, right? We can have staff, but this is an inventory management. These are just add-on, right? We can have add staffs, right? So this will contain staff name, you know, a lot of it, and the rest. That's what we're going to have right here. But this is a basic application. You can always do way more research, you know, a lot more research, and figure out exactly what other persons are doing. So this is a wireframe from Behance. There are terms and condition page. You can see onboarding pages. You can see support pages. So all these are secondary pages. You can also have support pages, terms and privacy policy, right? Lots of it like this, right? You can have a whole lot of pages. So now that you know what exactly you're going to be building, it means that you'll be able to think your app through. And if you want to do that, you can always do screenshot, right? You can do screenshot, and you can also look for inventory management application online, right? So this is just doing research. I know we've not gone into Flutterflow, but just doing some research, right? You can do inventory management apps right there, and you can check on Google Play Store, or Google Play Store or Apple Play Store, depending on the place that you want to launch, right? You can check on these tools, and you can basically find what kind of tool you want to use and how you intend to use this tool. You can find similarities between these tools and take for some of those, and then you will take screenshots. Say you like this reporting, the way this screen is, you will take screenshots, right? Copy image, right? And just paste the image right here, right? You paste the image right here, and you would name it. Right, you will name this image. This image would be your probably your product detail page, your stack page, and this is just to give you inspiration on how things are done when you're building your application, right? So if you get that, then let's go to the next task at hand. So we've talked about putting your design on paper. We've talked about finding design inspiration, right? Another place where you can find design inspiration is landing page folio. So I didn't tell you that. Landing page folio, right? You can find design inspiration here, especially if your product is going to be a SaaS, right? You can find this design inspiration if your product is going to be a SaaS. You can find it really a lot of it here. You can find like login pages, how your login page can look like, how your about page can look like. You can find a lot of inspiration here depending on the kind of product you are building, right? So let's go back right here. So I think we're good. So I'm going to replace it with a check mark. So I think we're good with this. We're good with this. So let's go to Flutterflow. So I'll show you around, and then we come back to thinking database. So if you have an account already, you just sign in. If you don't have an account, you start for free, right? If you don't have an account, and we're just going to go through the interface and see how things look like. So if you have a whole lot of projects right here, you would see all your project right here. But if you don't have one, you have to create your account, and then after creating your account, you sync up with your database. Flutterflow has a wizard that will just allow you. So if I click on create new application, and I create new application, and I name the application, I'll just give it a name, inventory manual, right? Say that's the name of my application. I can pick from any of these templates, right? This is one of the ways to build fast if you're a non-technical founder. You pick from any of these templates, and then you begin to take away some of this template, take away some stuff, add some to it, take some away from it, and that's how you're going to do it, right? So let's just start from a blank screen, right? So Flutterflow gives you the chance to pick any of the theme yourself. So pick one of these colors that resonate with your brand, right? Pick a color that resonates with your brand, and pick a color that you think you like, right? And then you would go to the next step. And Flutterflow has this wizard, which I'm not really going to set up. It's going to set up this wizard for you, and you'll be able to set it up. You'll be able to connect your project to Firebase. If that's going to be your default database, you connect it to Firebase, and you'll be able to get started, right? So if you do not know about how to connect your application, there is going to be a link below to a previous Flutterflow course that you can learn all of these things, how to connect to Firebase and set up your authentication. So with that said, I'm going to go back, to a previous application. So I'll just get started from there because I've, set up the database. I'm going to delete all the go ahead and delete all the pages right here, every single page right here, and so it will be brand new because I want to show you how to get this started from scratch. Okay, so we're back and there's nothing on this application anymore. Everything has been deleted, right? So what we want to do, first of all, I want to show you around Flutterflow. So you can divide Flutterflow into 3 different parts, and one of those, it's on the left hand side you have all the tools that you would need to drag and drop into your screen. So on the left hand side you would see your widget palette your widget palette. This is where you would take stuff and drag it into the screen, just like so, right? This is where you would drag images, you would drag buttons, containers, a whole lot of this into the screen, right? Then you would also find pages, right? This is where, as you add pages, say we want to add another page, let's just say we have an about page, we'll add it here. You're going to see all the pages here and you'll be able to switch from one page to another, right? We then have this widget palette tree, right? Because inside the page you're going to have a lot of widgets. Say I want to add a row inside this page, I'm going to click on the plus sign and add a row inside of it. So we have a row inside of it, and then if I click inside the page, I'm seeing a row. So the storyboard allows you to visualize your app screens all in one place, right? Allows you to see all the movement of your screen. So as you begin to build, you'll begin to see the storyboard, right? You begin to understand how the storyboard works. Please forgive the roaster. There's a roaster around my compound. It just wouldn't stop shouting. I don't know what to do, so please forgive that noise. So this is where the Firestore, this is where you're going to set up your database, right? This is where your entire database is going to live. So as users get to add data to your application, it's going to be visible here. But this is not where your data is stored, right? Your data is stored in your Firebase account because you'll be able to set up your account. And this is a third-party database management tool that you can integrate seamlessly with Firebase, and it works, right? This is where your data is going to be stored. So I'm going to just click one of this, and you would see this is your Firestore database. This is where it's going to be stored. You can see notes. You can see this is all going to be all the data in the application, right? And then if I click on authentication, I can see all the users in the application. But so Flutterflow is just representing the data in a very clean way so you can understand. But all this data is coming directly from all the data that's going to be stored here. It's going to be stored directly in Flutterflow, in Firebase, right? And then we have data schema, right? I'm not going to talk about this because this is a little bit advanced. We're not going to be using this. Okay, let's just go through it. So there are some times where you want to add data types to your application. Like if I click on database and I click on add name, add field. Let's say I want to add an address, right? I want to add an address, and you see address will have lots of things. An address might have phone number, street name, city, country, but if I click on string, it's not going to have that. So what I can do is that I'll come back here to my data type. I'll click on add data type and I'll just call it address, right? I'll call it address and I'll say create, and then I'll add feeds to the address. I would say street number, and I'll just call it data. I'll call it type integer, or I'll just call it string. That's fine. Then I'll call this area. I'll call it string, right? Then I'll call this city, string. I'll call it state. So you also use this if you intend to store credit card. If you intend to store the user's credit card on your application. So I'm going to call this country, right? I can call this also phone number, and I'll say string. And then you see all of these things are different data types. So I could even add all of this data type as a document, as a type, right? As a feed type, right? On this particular data type. Then I'll come back to my user, and now I want to add an address to this user, right? I'll click data type. I'm going to find that data type, right? I'll click on data type, and the type of the data type I'm going to use is the address, right? And that's just the way it is. The address is going to be a combination of all those other data types that I've predefined already. So if I click on this manage data button and I come back here, that means I just want to add data myself. I want to add free data myself. And if I click on this plus sign, right, and I want to add a user's address, I'll click here and I will see that I can add the street number, the area, the city, the state, the country, the phone number, all as one data type. Right, I hope you understand. That's the way it is. So I also have this app state. You know that app state. There are sometimes where you want data to be stored on the mobile phone of your users, right? So once they install this application, all the app state will be predefined on the person's phone if you want it to be that way. But if you don't want it to be that way, you can create this app state, right? This will be predefined, and then as users get to use your application, this app state will be filled over and over and over and over again. To create an app state is pretty straightforward. I just click on add app state variable. Let's say the app state is login time. So you want to figure out all the times that a user gets to log into your application. I will say login time. That's going to be the app state, and it's going to be a date time, right? So every time a user log into the application, I'm going to just store the time they logged in, right? I'm going to say persisted because I want to store it. So when they close the application, it doesn't disappear. I want to store it, and it's going to be a list. If it's a list, it means I can add many app state. I can add many dates, many login time inside a single login time, right? Or maybe I want to say open application. So I want to tell if my users have opened my application for the first time, or I want to say first time user. So I want to do something if this person is a first time user, and if this person is not a first time user, I would say yes or no, right? I would say Boolean, which is a true or false, and I would say it's not a list, and I'll just create it. So if this person is a first time user, once they get to the page that I want, I'm going to just update this app state and make it true. But normally it's just going to be false, right? And so we have all those other things here. We have API core, we have media assets, we have custom code, we have cloud functions, we have automated tests, we have teams and design. You're going to be using this a bit, you know. Once you set this up, you don't have to set it up anymore. And we have settings here, right? All these are some tweaks that you have to make in your application in order for things to work out very, very fine. But the most important settings that you want to check out, permissions. Right here, if you're going to be using Bluetooth, biometrics, camera, or any of this stuff, you want to, you know, activate them and put the right reasons why you are using them, especially for the Apple Play Store. Right. Also, you want to click on your permissions, right? You want to click on your publishing right here if you're going to be publishing for the web, and then you also have this mobile deployment, right? You're going to need be spending some time here to set things up yourself, and that's basically what you're going to be using most of the time, right? You're not going to be using a whole lot. And then we have this Flutterflow side of things. You're likely going to be generating config sometimes, but mostly you're not going to be using it a whole lot. And also don't forget there is something here on the database called, if you click on the settings, there's something here called Firebase rules, right? The default is just fine, right, if you're building, but when you're launching, you want to tighten up Firebase rules and make sure it works very, very well, right? So Flutterflow is a whole lot to cover, so I'm skipping through things so that we'll be able to finish it, right? So you don't get angry, you know, so we'll be able to finish it and take it to the end. Meanwhile, there's going to be a full feature Flutterflow course that's coming up. If you want to access it, you click on the link below, this video, and you'll be able to access that course. So it's going to be a course bundle. It's going to be a whole lot of courses. It's going to be Flutterflow and other no-code tools, and you'll be able to learn all of those and see the one that works for you. Right, that's the right hand side, the left hand side, right, of Flutterflow. Right here at the top here, you have different screen size. So we have the tablet and we have the desktop screen size, and here you can toggle between dark mode and light mode right here, and you can resize your display. But that's not what we want to talk about right now. In here, you're going to be using this a whole lot, right? Let's say, for example, I put in a container in here. I put a container in here, and this is the container. In this side of the application, I'll be able to expand the container, you know, from top to bottom. I'll be able to give it a width to cover the entire screen. I'll be able to give it a height. You know, this is where I will customize my container. This is where I will customize most of my application right there. And here, this is where I will add action. Remember when I told you that building with Flutterflow is like creating a dummy or creating a figurine and then adding action to that figurine. I can tell that when this thing is clicked, I want something to happen. So if I come here and I put a button right here, this is a button, right? And I put a button right here. This is a big button because I put it inside the container, so that's why it's a big button. So if I click on it, you can see the size here, and then there's this button here. That's just the reason why it's a button. So if I take it upwards, so you see it's going to go to the top, and the container is right here, and the button right here. Come on. The row alignment, I'm just going to put it in the middle. So if a person click on this button, I want something else to happen. So if I click on this arrow, I can add an action. So an action is what you want to happen if you click on this button. If I click on it, I can do so many things. I can navigate to other pages. I can navigate backwards and create database. I can do so many things anytime I click on this particular button. So that's basically what actions are all about. And here, this is how you fetch data. Query, this is how you query data from the database. Let's say, for example, right here on this particular app, I want to query all the tasks. So what I'll do is that I'll come back here and I will just I will come back here and I'll click on this button and I'll say add query, and I would say which of the query select collection, and which of this collection tasks. I would say a list, right? So there's a difference between a single and a list. A single will return just one query, just the first or the last. You know, if I say single, it can return the first, it can return the last, depending on how I set it up. But if I say list, it's going to return everything in the database, and I would say confirm, right? That's basically it. It's just going to return a whole lot of buttons, right? But this is not the right way to display a list. If I want to display a list, I will use a list view to display a list, right? I'll click on plus sign and I will say list view and drag the list view over here, right? This is the list view, and inside this list view, I'm just gonna, you know, add a lot of buttons inside of it. So these are all the buttons inside the list view, and then I'll go ahead and make that query. The same query, right? The same query I made before of all the tasks. I'm just going to go ahead and make it, and you can see we have 4 buttons already because it's a list view, right? Remember, this is the basic course, so I'm not diving deep into anything. I'm just showing you around Flutterflow, so at the end of the day, you'll basically understand what Flutterflow is, and if possible, you can launch your own MVP and see how it behaves, right? So I'm going to delete all of this, and then right here, animations. You don't have to, it's okay, you don't have to go through this. Okay, so now that we know our way around Flutterflow, right, then let's see how we'll think of our database. Let's go back to Mirror all over again. So we can see right here that our authentication have login, have sign up, have recover password. And in Flutterflow, the default collection that you'll find that once you launch your application is the users collection. That's the default collection you find when you launch your application, the users collection. This is where everybody who uses your application is gonna land. This is where their data is going to land. So once you authenticate anything, it will go to a particular table. So if you come back to Flutterflow, if you come back to Firebase, you will see that everyone who's authenticated here, right, in the application end up here, right? And you will see the provider. There are different sign-in methods in Firebase. Email is the easiest to use. So you'll find other default like Google, Facebook, GitHub, Yahoo, Twitter, single sign-in, anonymous, game center. There are different setups that you can use to sign in into your application. Right, so let's go back to our Flutterflow application. So if we want to think about a database, we think of our database as the person, right? If your inventory application is a person, what's it going to look like? So you can think as the authentication, or if it's a house, you can think of what's going to look like. Think of it as a noun. A noun is the name of any person, animal, place, or thing. You call all the major part of your application like a noun. So if your inventory application is a noun, that means the person who's going to be using your application is going to be a human being. And if a human being wants to log into your application, what data do you want to collect? Right? What kind of data do you want to collect in that particular application? Right? So we're going to just we're going to pull this in here, and we're going to put this in here, and we're going to give it a color, and we'd say if the person is a human being, so how do you log into your application or sign up? So if you want to sign up, you can say they sign up using they'll sign up using what? Using email, using password, right? Using email and password. That's how they sign up. And if there are any other, I'm going to put it here, sign up using email and password. If there are any other thing that you want to collect, any other information that you want to collect from your users, then you're going to collect it right here, right? Probably as a sign up, you want to ask for their company name, you want to ask for their address, you want to ask for their state of origin, their country, you want to ask for their name, you want to ask for their phone number, right? These are things that you basically need. So what you do require would depend on where you are and where you stay. And if you're recovering password, the only thing you just need their email address to recover password, right? And then when it comes to the product details, you have to ask yourself, since a noun is the name of a person, animal, place, or things, and you're thinking that this product is a person, if this product is a person, what's going to be their characteristics? What exactly do they need to be addressed as a person? So if you say a product detail page, that means you're going to have name of product, right? You're going to have the name of a product because you have to be able to address this product. And then you're going to have product ID, which is very important. You're going to have image of the product, and you're going to have what else again? Quantity or total of the product, amount, right? You're going to have amount of the product. You're going to have product description. So this is what you want to think of the database. You want to think of all of these as characteristics, right? You want to think of them as characteristics of the noun. Like if you think, you see a goat will have leg, it will have a hand, it will have arms. If it doesn't have all of these things, you won't take it very seriously. So also, if your user cannot see some of these details, then they won't take you seriously. But basically, to think of your database, you just want to think of the things that you use mostly in most of the apps you visit, and see how those apps are structured, and you'll be able to think of your database really, really well, right? So that's basically it. I just really want this tutorial to be as short as possible, under 1 hour, and we're going easily. Okay, so let's just think of it that we're good here. And here, using template, widget, and flows. So as a person who has no technical know-how, then you want to leverage on existing tools in Flutterflow to create your application. Remember, in our application, we ought to create our authentication, right? We ought to create authentication. We didn't add onboarding, but let's just say we ought to create just authentication. So what we'll do, we'll come back here, we'll click on the plus sign, and we'll see flows. So flows. So the fact that you're going to be using flows doesn't mean you're not a brilliant person. It just means you're very smart and you want things to be done as fast as possible. So these are authentication flows. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for authentication flows right here, and you can pick from one of this. You can pick from one of these flows like this. You can pick from one of these flows, right? If you want something very simple, then you can pick this particular simple flow. If you want something a bit, with cool design, you can pick the phone. But you see, the phone auth, that means this auth is this phone number. But as a person who's just getting started, I would definitely think you want to use the simple flow with 5 pages. So if you click on it, add to pages, so it's going to add to pages. It's going to say continue, and that's it. Just say continue the flow. So if you click on it, if you see it, if you go back to your database, you would see that nothing changed on your users, nothing changed. But if you come back here, you would see Flutterflow has already automatically created the welcome widget, and it's pretty responsive. You can see it's pretty responsive even in desktop. It has created the forget password, that's created the home page, that created the login, welcome screen, you know, it has created all of that. So I'm going to delete all of this. So I'm going to delete all of this, and then I'll come back here to my settings right here, and I'll come to my initial page. So my entry page is going to be my welcome screen, and then my logged in page is going to be my home screen. So the meaning of entry page is what's that page that they get into when they don't have access to the application at all, right? So that's how I want to do it. And then I'm going to come back again. And now that we've done with the odd flow, we need another flow, right? If we come back to our Flutterflow doc, we can use widget and we can use templates, right? So if you don't want to use flow and you think that, okay, I think flow is not really good for me, you can use templates. You can use Flutterflow templates to, you know, get started. So if you just come back here, you can just type Flutterflow templates, and you can also start designs as templates in Flutterflow, right? You can start design as templates in Flutterflow to reuse in multiple applications. So you can start your designs in Flutterflow as templates, so you can use them in multiple applications. So all you just have to do is to keep installing those templates. So in the Flutterflow marketplace, you will find different applications. You can buy this application. You can see health and fitness, Flowtify, responsive dashboard, CRM. You will find all manner of different type of templates over here that you can use. Some are for free and some are for free, some are for paid. So don't really see yourself like a lazy person if you are going to be using templates, right? If you're using template, don't see yourself as somebody who's lazy because you're using template, but just see it as a way that, okay, I want to be very fast. So that's the reason why I am using templates. So you want to just click on any of the two, click on any of this, and if you're okay with it, if you're okay with the preview, you add to your project. And that's basically all you want to do, nothing else, right? So another way that we can actually do this, let's say we want to create the home page. Let's just say we want to create the home page. We can come back here, click on the plus sign. You can click on the plus sign and, just search through. So anything that looks like a home page, but you might not find something really cool here. So one thing that we can do is that, we can delete this. Let's just delete this. We can do is that we can click on this plus sign, we can click here, and we can find widgets. So we will find widgets that have not been designed over here, but if we click right here, we can find already existing widget that we can use in our application, right? Card views, already existing widget that we can use in our application to make sure that we're able to design really fast. So let's just imagine this is going to be our products. Let's just imagine that this is our product right here. This is a video. This is our product right here. Let's just imagine, and let's just imagine that's our product, and then we have our column. We have all of this card inside of this, and then we want to use this card. As you can see, we didn't design this card. We just got it from our widget flow, and that was it. So let's just click on the plus sign. We can find other ones. We can find other ones, and we can also search. We can also search from here, but let's just go find other ones and see how it's gonna look like. So I'm gonna look for this. I'm gonna put this one. Right, put this one. I'll take it up. Right, and then I'll click on the plus sign again. Click on the plus sign, and I want to add more stats to it. Right, so you can see our home page is forming. Right, our home page is forming. So next, I'm going to add a list to it. I'm going to add a list to it. is a list. I'm going to add so let's just say we want to add a list of companies to it, right? I'm going to add a list of companies to it, or a list of businesses to it. So I'm going to find it. So I'm going to assume this is my list. So can you see it? So and when you add all of these things to it, you would see that it's already most part of it is already responsive, right? It's responsive already, and so you don't have to do too much because it's responsive already, right? And you can see the desktop, you can see the mobile aspect of things. So the thing is, you want to be using reusable components, you want to be using flows, and you want to be using templates to make sure that you don't design so much, because most of this have been done by professionals, and so they basically understand design principles and understand how design works. And if you use all this, you would not really be making any mistake or whatsoever, right? So this is using templates. So collecting payment, one of the easiest way to collect payment in Flutterflow is for you to just use Stripe, right? Stripe is like one of the easiest things to use. So if you come back here, you click on Stripe and you enable Stripe, right? You enable Stripe, and then you put your publishable key, your secret key, you just put your keys here. You'll be able to create Stripe. You'll be able to put Stripe link here, and it will run directly from Flutterflow, and you'll be able. So on your Stripe dashboard, you're going to switch to test mode and copy your publishable key and your secret test key. Once you copy it, you would then come back here and paste it here. This is your publishable key and then your secret key. Then when you want to go live, or if you desire to go live, you would have to come back here and switch to your live mode and copy your publishable key and your secret key. Then you come back here and paste it, and then paste it. You put your merchant country code. Yeah, for most persons it's going to be USD. That's going to be your code, and then you put the name of your merchant. And if you want to receive payment via Apple, you would have to add your Apple merchant ID right here, right here. That's what you have to do. And if you're looking for more information, click right here. It's very necessary it's very necessary for you to add your Apple merchant ID in order for your payment to work, in order for you to receive payment via Apple Pay, right? That's basically what you have to do. Okay, and the next thing you want to do is to come back to your app. Create a screen that will tell people to collect payment, and then you click on the reserve spot, add an action, and this is an action, and here the action is going to be Stripe. That's going to be the action. Under integration, you would see Stripe, and then you would put the price. So you put the price right here. The country code is not going to be dynamic, and you will put the price right here. So it's going to be in, this is the country code. The country code is going to be, US. That's going to be the country code, which is America. And then you can find country code, currency code over. You can find currency code on Google, but you can find your own currency code. But mostly you're going to be using either pounds, Great British pounds, or euro, or USD. That's the most current. That's most of the type of currency that Stripe accept. And then you put the value. This value you can pass it dynamically from the button, and let's just say we put 35 right here as the value. And then your customer email is going to be the authenticated user. That means the user currently using the phone, currently signed in, and the name is going to be right here, authenticated user display name, or you can combine the first name and the last name together. And then we'll switch on allow Google Pay. But if you allow Apple Pay, it's not going to work, because you need Apple merchant ID for that to work. And then you can use the light theme or the default theme. You stay with the default. And then this is the output variable, the payment ID. That's the output variable, right? You can click into it to know what it is. So you can basically use this ID later to check if this payment was successful or if the payment wasn't successful. But you see, once you add this action to it, Flutterflow is going to handle the rest. It's going to bring a pop-up in between on the screen, and when you click on that pop-up, users will be able to make the payment, and you can do whatsoever you want to do, right? You can do whatever you want to do immediately after the payment works. So if you click on this, right, after this payment, you can put an action and say add action, redirect, navigate to a particular screen after the payment. So you can navigate to a different screen entirely after the payment, and you can, this is the screen. Let's go to a different screen entirely. Let's delete this. So we're going to click here and click on the plus sign. We will add a success screen to it. Go to content, and we're just going to look for a screen. Any cool screen. Just gonna add any this. Let's just use this. So this is gonna be the success screen that we're gonna redirect to. So come back here, reserve spot, click here, add action, navigate to this screen. Navigate to this screen, and then we can pass a string ID. We can pass a payment ID in here. That's going to be a string, payment ID, and type is going to be a string, and we're just going to say confirm, and then we'll pass this string that we'll pass is going to be the payment ID that's going to be sent to us from Stripe from the output right here. And then we can do anything we want to do. We can store the ID, we can do anything we want to do right here. And this is not the only way to confirm payment. We can use a webhook, because once you've connected this, Stripe will keep on sending information to you, telling you if the payment is still processing, if the payment is done, if the payment failed. So once this happens and it's good, it will navigate you to a different screen entirely, right? So we have cloud function. Yeah, this is not going to deploy because you have to be on a Bliss plan for this to work. If you're on a Bliss plan, then it's going to deploy, but if you're not on a Bliss plan, it's not going to deploy, right? And so what else do you want to cover right here? We've done payment, linking with a standard tool. So one of the easiest ways to link up with a standard tool is to use BuildShip. BuildShip is one of those tools that allow you to build APIs without you writing code or whatsoever. So if we come back to BuildShip, let's say, for example, that same stripe that we're looking to that want to implement in our app, and we want to just catch the stripe, want to understand when the payment happens, and then we want to understand when the payment happens. Maybe we are redirecting to a different screen. We can actually do so from BuildShip. We can update our database when an event happens in our application, right? So let's just say, for example, we want to update our database. Let's say we are redirecting our users to a different screen entirely, and then we want to update our database when something happens. So we're just going to say database update. So I'm not going to update any database right here, but I just want to walk you through it and show you how it happens. So it's going to ask you, what exactly do you want to do? Do you want to search a database? Do you want to music generator? Do you want to a screenshot URL? But we don't want to do any of this stuff. Or do you want this? So this Stripe checkout completed. So here it says a Stripe workflow showcasing how Stripe webhook automation works for processing, right? If you want to see if a checkout is completed, so when this checkout is completed, you can ask them to do something, right? So you can see this is the webhook secret key. This is the event that you want to catch, right? You might want to catch when the session is complete. That means when the payment has worked, right? When the payment has worked, the secret key that it's asking for is this same key over here. This one over here, this is what it's asking for. So I'll switch to test mode. I'll copy this. So this is what it's asking for over here. This BuildShip. Oh, not this one. So I'll come back here to my Stripe. Copy. Come back here and put my key. So this is the keys asking for right there. And this is my query, my Firebase, right? This is my Firebase, but I don't really want to query anything, right? I don't really want to query anything right there. my Firebase account, but I just want to show you how things work, right? So this is going to be my Firebase account, and it's going to filter, right? It's going to filter. I'm going to add my product ID over here. I'm going to query where the email is equal to a particular email, and then I'm going to say if that checkout worked very well. If that checkout worked very well, then order is fulfilled. But if not, I want something else to, I want something else to happen. So that's just the way it works. Maybe I'm not explaining this to the best of my knowledge, but let me break it down a whole lot and show you how things are supposed to work. So I'm going to create something else. I'm just going to create an unknown workflow. Just going to create something else. I'm going to say add a trigger. I'm going to say I want a REST API trigger right here. I'm going to say add a trigger, and this is going to be get response, right? Get response. So now we're connecting. We want to implement an action in Flutterflow so that it will reflect here, right? So I'm going to say plus. I'm just going to return something. So return is just when this particular thing happened, what do you want to happen? So I'm going to just return something. The value, I'm going to say I'm going to return the value. The value is going to be yes, it worked, right? That's just going to be the value. That's the value I'm going to return, and then I'm just going to ship it. So if you ship it, right? If you ship it, you can test it here. So what this does is that an action can be performed in Flutterflow, right? And then this particular tool will receive the action, and then you can take the data. You can take whatever you can then make something happen here, right? Let's say, for example, when you receive an email, right, in your email account, or when your user type in their email account, their email, when they are registering their account, you want to trigger an email sequence. Okay, I think that works. You want to trigger an email sequence in your email too, right? This is how you do it. So I'm going to copy this, but I can test right here. It's not expecting anything. I can test right here, and it should return that particular value when I test, right? So the way I did it, I just click on this test, and that's basically it. So it's nothing. So you can see, yes, it worked. So now that I've clicked on this ship, I'm just going to copy this. I'll come back to Flutterflow, right? And let's just say when the user make that payment, this particular payment, I want to send the user a message to tell them this payment was successful. I'll come back to my API call. I'll click here, create a call. I'll say payment success, right? And I would say it's a get, and I'll just put it here, right? So I'm doing the same thing like we have here. This is a get. I can turn it into a post. It's fine. I can turn it into a get. So I'm doing that, and I'm not giving it any input. It's not expecting any input or whatsoever, but I can add an input to it, right? Normally you're supposed to add an email to it. That's what you're supposed to add. So you're just going to go and post. So you see 200 success. It's not expecting anything. Yes, it worked. The same thing that we got. Every time we run this application, we can make things happen. So I'm going to say add, right? And then I'll come back here and I'll click on this reserved spot. And once the payment is done, I'm going to click on the plus sign, and I'm going to say API call right there, and I'm going to say payment success, right? That's just basically it. I'm going to say payment success. That's all. This is just a name, so this name doesn't really matter at all. And so whenever a person clicks this payment, it's going to trigger it's going to run this, and once this is done, it's going to trigger this, and once this is done, it's going to trigger this, right? And then I'm going to come back here, and I can add so many things to it, right? Forget about the return. I can click on the plus sign, and I can say once this worked, once this API is triggered, I want you to send an email. So I can send an email which we send to the owner of that account like this. I can send an email which we send. I can put the API key of this particular service. I can tell who the email is from, and I can trigger an email sequence, right? I can add this person to a Google Sheet. I can add this person to a Google Sheet. I can add this person to an Airtable sheet. I can add this person to so many different services. I can book a call for this person depending on what I want to do. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a deep dive into Buildsheet and show you how these things worked, right? So that's basically how you connect Flutterflow to external services. So preparing for launch. So when you're launching, if you know you intend to launch very fast, what you should do is that register for your Apple and Google account on time, especially your Apple account, because it might take a while for you to register it, for them to approve it, especially if you're not from the USA. If you're from Africa, you're based out of Africa, they're going to ask you for so many details and so many paperwork. So do well to register your account before maybe 2 weeks before you decided to launch, and also get your graphics done. Flutterflow has a cool way that you can take screenshot of your application. So say for example you're previewing your application, you can take screenshot directly from the preview, right with the snipping tool. You can snip your screen and take screenshot using that snipping tool. You can say, if you turn on screenshot mode, right, it will enable you to change the text. You can change the text that you have here. You can change the name that you have here. You can change all of these things if you're turning on screenshot mode, and that will enable you to, edit anything that you have here. And also you can take the screenshot yourself, like this generate screenshot. You can just click on generate screenshot. It's going to generate multi-screenshot for you. This is it, right? It's going to generate multi-screenshot for you for a different type of application that you can impute into the Play Store, right? And also you would have to prepare your landing page that you're going to prepare your landing page that you're going to share with friends, or you're going to put on for people to get more details. And another thing that you want to prepare your terms and conditions. You want to prepare your privacy policy whenever you're launching your application. Those are cool things that you want to do. Privacy policy, terms and condition. You also want to be GDPR compliant. So if you are out of Europe, you want your data to be stored out of Europe, that's what you want to do. So those are some of the things that you need to do. And also for Stripe, if you're in Europe, you wouldn't have any issue. If you're in Europe or the USA, you shouldn't have any issue with Stripe. But if you are based out of Africa, then you want to register your Stripe on time, or you want to ask a friend who live in the USA or in any of the European countries to help you with a Stripe account. But if you do not have Stripe, you can actually use Paystack based out of Nigeria. You can use RezoPay. You can use Lemon Squeezy. There are different type of payment you can use. Just the Stripe comes out of the box. There are other payment too that you can use with Flutterflow that comes right out of the box, like Braintree, Revenue Card, RezoPay. Revenue Card is cool, but I think the Revenue Card is cool, but one of the downside of Revenue Card is that it's going to take from your profit. But so I think Stripe, it's way better because you can actually implement it off the bat directly, from Flutterflow. And so this is some of the things I think you should know for launch. I think before you launch your application, create a buzz, some type of a buzz. If you're on Twitter, share your tweet every day about your application. Tweet every day about your application. Tweet every day about the benefit of your application. There's something called Build in Public. There's this Build in Public hashtag that you can use on Twitter. It's really cool. So you can say hashtag Build in Public. Build in public. So there's this Build in Public hashtag that you can use all the time. So whenever you are building something, you can just always use this hashtag, and you can people keep following this hashtag because they want to know what other persons are doing. So those are some of the tips that I have. This is something I want to give for free, and thank you very much for watching. If you need more information about building product with Flutterflow, feel free to click on the link below and schedule a call with me. And if you want to go deeper with building with no-code tools, you want to go really deep building with no-code tools, probably by the time you're watching this video, the course must be out. If it's not out, just keep your hands crossed. We're going to be releasing some sets of tutorials, a tutorial bundle that contains lots of no-code tools that you can use to learn how to build mobile applications with no code. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you got value from this. I'll see you in a different class entirely.